Last video for Unit 6, perimeter and area in the coordinate plane. This is probably one of the most in-depth questions that you're going to see on the test and you're going to see on the final exam type things that you're going to see. So perimeter and area, you've got to follow a step-by-step process. I need to find out the distance between these sets of points, and then I can add up for perimeter, and then I can find area. So I want to label my points first, and I hope that this isn't too actually contrasting for you to see. So I want to find this point. So -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the coordinate pair for this point here is -5, 8. Now let's just go the short way. So this is going to be 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 2, 10. That looks like a 3. That's a 2. Okay. I want to find the distance between these 2 points, and this is a rectangle, which means that the top and the bottom are going to be the same exact length, as these two are going to be the same exact length, but we'll do that in a minute anyway. Now, I can do 2 methods to solve for that line. One, which is probably the more difficult of the equations, is I can actually use distance formula for this. It will always work. Both of them will always work, but distance is a little bit more challenging here because I actually know what I can count. If I just gave you the points, you'd have to use distance formula. But here I can use Pythagorean Theorem. That's the second method, and that's what I'm going to use here. So Pythagorean Theorem, it's kind of fun. I get to draw a right triangle. But that's the key. I need to make a right triangle. Now, it doesn't matter which direction you make that right triangle. So I'm just going to go ahead and make it here. I'm going to go over straight and then go straight up. That's my right triangle, and that's my right angle. I need that to use Pythagorean Theorem. And you don't have to label the legs or the sides if you want to. I am, so this is going to be A and this is going to be B, which means the hypotenuse, this dashed line I drew, is going to be C. So I know the distance of the straight lines because they're straight. I can actually count the boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units over. So A is going to be 7, and B is 1, 2 units up. Now I can use Pythagorean Theorem to solve for this equation. So 2 squared plus 7 squared is going to equal C squared. 4 plus 49 equals C squared. 53 equals C squared. Take the square root of both sides, and I've got the square root of 53. And let's just round it to the nearest tenth to make it a little easier for ourselves. So the square root of 53 is going to be 7.3. Well, 7.28, but we're rounding to the tenth. So let's just make it 7.3, and we can just say that it's units. Okay? So this C hypotenuse is 7.3 units, which means that the bottom is also 7.3 units. Halfway done for perimeter. So I'm going to do the same exact thing with these 2 points. So I'm going to go over until I see the line that this connects to, and I'm going to go up to see the line. I've made my right angle, okay? And the dashed line is going to represent my hypotenuse. So this is 3 units over. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is 11 units up or down. And let me erase this so you can see. I'm going to use Pythagorean Theorem again. So 3 squared plus 11 squared equals C squared. And remember, this is my C value, the hypotenuse. So 9 plus 121 equals C squared. And 130 equals C squared. Take the square root of both sides to get rid of the square 2. And rounding to the nearest tenth again to make your life a little bit easier, I'm going to get 11.4. So 11.4 units represents the length, or the height, if you will, of both sides here. So now I've got something that's a little bit easier to read when I erase all this stuff. And I want a perimeter. Oops. So this is 11.4 units, 11.4 units. I'm going to add all those up, or I'm just going to multiply them by 2. So 11.4 times 2. Plus 7.3 times 2 gives me 37.4 units. The perimeter of this figure is 37.4 units. Okay? Moving on to area very quickly. And it's very quick to do area because the area of a rectangle is base times height, or length times width, whichever way you fancy that one. So base times height, 7.3 times 11.4. Now remember, they're both actually units. So when I multiply units together, it's going to be units squared. So 7.3 times 11.4 gives me 83, and let's round to the nearest tenth again, it's going to be 83.2 units squared. That is my area for this figure.